Bruce. So thank you so much. Okay, so let's now talk about Furiosa. I guess we could do spoilers, right? We'll do spoilers at the end because, spoilers for Furiosa. I will say my initial thoughts. I'll just do my initial thoughts. You do your initial thoughts. This surpassed my expectations. I was not really looking forward. I mean, I was looking forward to another Mad Max Saga movie, but I was actually slightly disappointed with George Miller to do this story instead of moving forward or doing like Old Man Max with Mel Gibson. I know that's controversial, but I still want to see it because I love the old Mad Max movies. But I was shocked. I love this movie. I think I like it better than Fury Road. And I actually was really shocked that I like Anya Taylor-Joy story as Furiosa, and I was more attached to her Furiosa than Charlize Theron, just because you get the whole backstory. And there is a lot of action. I don't know why people are like this. It's just not constant action. There was some amazing sequences in here. I don't know how George Miller does it. Like the action sequences keep building upon each other. They just go for a long time, and it's so innovative of what the things he thinks about driving. And these cars are like these trucks and these vehicles are driving at full speed. And all these action sequences they think of, it's like mind blowing of so amazed by George Miller. So that's my initial thoughts. Extremely surprised, surpassed my expectations. And man, did we need this movie. It leads right up the Fury Road. So I'm through the moon about this movie. That's my initial thoughts. Rhea.
Yeah, so I had to look up the actress's name. Alila Brown. That is the name of the young actress who played younger Furiosa. So I feel like she stole the movie, in my opinion. At first,
okay.
I was a little like, okay, yeah, how much are we going to focus on her
Yes, I did
leaving
too.
her village, and are we going to see any sort of like connecting endurance about her? Because I more or less saw her as, oh, like a gifted chosen one, and how is this child, outsmarting and physically I guess like overcoming the adults around her. So there was like a threshold of believability that detached me from her a little bit. But as the movie went on, I was like, I love how much more time we're spending with her, because sometimes I feel like origin stories when characters are children, they go too fast, and I'm not able to really like pick up on any type of like cognizance of how they came to be as adults later on. So the fact that the movie spent like, a good amount of time, I would say maybe like close to 1/3 or over like maybe like 2 chapters or so, I forget, of young
Yeah, I was
Furiosa.
shocked. I was also shocked about that much too. Yes.
I loved it. And there was this period where her Alila Brown's portrayal of Furiosa, and then transitioning into Anya, it was so seamless. Usually it's really jarring when the younger version of a character goes into a more current era, or I guess in this case, the next age group where she's in her 20s. At first I was like, okay, how are they going to pull this off? But because they picked an actress who looks so much like Anya, like, kind of like the big eyes and, some of the facial structures as well, like they really picked a good actress to do that. And I guess like my point is, not only was her character more endearing the more time that we spent with her, and the more empathy we built up with her, like, seeing like this whole range of emotions she was able to communicate. Her acting skills, in my opinion, were a little bit, they surpassed Anya's, because to me, I felt like Anya didn't really emote as much, and she didn't have as much, physical action, character acting, I guess, physically and emotion, being able to emote, and being able to read her body language outside of, just verbally explaining what happens.
With her, I was also shocked there was that much of her mother too. That her mother's stuff was cool as well.
Yeah, I agree. And we got a sense of the stakes that the village is willing to go through to protect it. Being hidden from the rest of the world. Like, they'll literally sacrifice themselves to, you know, protect others. And yeah, I think that was the case with the mom. And I was a little I was wondering, like, if Furiosa would ever make it back to the village, or just, she would see that she's so, I guess, quote unquote
Yeah.
indoctrinated to desert life that she no longer belongs to the village in the
Well,
village, so she'll
that's
choose to leave.
that's the shocking, and this is spoilers, so that's the shocking part too, is she never really gets back, and I think she chose not to.
Yeah,
She said, I like, she became something different, and then she was like, really, one of the scenes, I was like, she was demanding her childhood and her mother back. That was
yeah,
intense, she's
yeah,
not
with
going to get it
Dementis.
back. Yeah, she's different. She's a different person now. And it leads right up to Fury Road, and she chose to do other things. Um,
What did you think of Chris Hemsworth as Dementis?
I thought he looked silly in the trailers. He did a good job. He did a good
Yeah,
job. I still don't know about like the nose choice. It kind of like is.
same.
I'm just like, okay. I kind of got along with it for a while. I think they did it because he's so recognizable. I
Yeah,
think that's what part of the reason to help him and the audience think of him as a villain. I think that was, because he's such a likable like guy when you look at him. It's hard to think of as the villain, but he did a great job. And I was conflicted with him too, because he kind of seemed like he didn't want to be mean at some points. Like, did you get
yeah.
that? Did you get that too at some weird points? Like, I got to remember this is the wasteland. I got to be different. I don't, you almost got to me, my heart or whatever. And then he also carries around a teddy bear from his children. So it's kind of like, this is the way, you don't have any choice. You become something in the wasteland, you know?
Yeah, I definitely agree. And to your point, I think that there was supposed to be some ambiguity in how you see him. Like, he's definitely an antagonist, but it's kind of like that weird gray area of like, okay, but is he a villain? So I think for like the sake of discussion in the movie, he's
Like,
definitely an antagonist, but he's
yeah.
like, because you empathize with him
But if
to
he was
a
just
degree,
straight
he's
up
not really a
villain,
villain.
yeah,
Yeah.
but if he was like just a straight up villain, he wouldn't like be like look away when she was young and stuff and things like that, or I have to do this, I
Right.
actually think he
Okay.
was I actually think he was contemplating in his head, I have to do this because I got to stay in charge and I got to provide for people in the wasteland.
Yeah, and like it's kind of weird because although we see him murder, like straight up, kill Furiosa's mom in front of her, he then chooses to adopt her, and then you kind of
Yeah.
see
And then he cared about her. He actually tried to protect her from Immortum Joe. And then Furiosa goes to Immortum Joe towards the end.
yeah,
So I
and
think he was trying to protect her from him, and then young Furiosa sold him out. It's like, no, he's not my father.
yeah, I kind of got flashbacks to Star Lord getting adopted by what is it, the Ravengers, or I forget um yeah,
With
the
Yondu.
yes, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, in that one scene, did you think that he was trying to keep her for other reasons or to protect her?
I think okay, so I also got flashbacks to Rebel Moon where Korra was, adopted by uh that that guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I forget his name, but I think there is kind of a sense of like, yeah, like this is a prodigy sort of like, adoption. They see part of them, they see an opportunity to continue their legacy through this younger person and build them up in their own image, if that makes sense. So it's more of an exercise in trying to create a little clone of themselves, but it's sort of like turning against them in a way.
Okay. Some other things, and we'll just talk about a few other things we talk about, and then we'll score it um, out of 10. The other things that was very interesting to me, if you are thinking this Furiosa is not going to have a Mad Max, spoilers, it kind of has a Proto Max. and then there's also somewhat of a cameo. But the character, if I was going to say one weak point, was how important that Furiosa seemed to be to Immortum Joe's Wasteland crew. Like which, and there's some really creepy scenes with his sons where she escapes, and
Yeah.
then once she goes missing, they just stop talking about her or just forget about her, and then she goes with these. What's his character's name that they start driving the truck together? The
Oh yeah, her
Praetorian.
mentor.
Yeah,
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 I've
he's
just been
like
calling him that.
he's kind of like a proto. He's like a proto Max, like sort of like Mad Max before Mad Max. And I don't. Did they have some like where there's starting to be some romantic things situation there? Kind of. I don't know. I don't
Yeah,
even know if he. I don't even know what age she was supposed to be, and he was. That's confusing too. So I don't want to suggest there's something should be there, but I kind of feel like they kind of liked each other too, and they were going to go right off into the sunset and go back to her. And it is also interesting that uh, she really cared about her mother and she wanted her mother back. But the thing that made her stay in the wasteland and that become her life is the loss of the Praetorian guy or whatever his name was. But I liked his character a lot. That was interesting. But that was the one thing I was like, they're just gonna forget about her. She was trapped with the other women, and then she escapes, and they're just gonna be like, whatever.
I was totally expecting a double cross with
Okay.
that guy. I was like,
Oh
they're
yeah,
totally setting it
I
up.
was thinking. Oh yeah, I was thinking potentially. Yeah, he might just be trying to find out also where her people were, because he did ask. Like he was one of the ones that asked. I was like, really? Did you just do that? What is that? That's the scene where I was like, why did you just ask her that?
Yeah.
Because you seemed like a generally empathetic character in this horrible wasteland where there's not very many. There's not very many empathetic characters, and then he, you know, did you like his character?
No, I didn't care for
Oh,
him.
oh,
Like,
okay.
I think it's because I didn't really see any sort of realism in Furiosa being able to build a sort of like more, I don't know if the right word is like nurturing or more, sort of like sentimentality, I guess, with someone. Like I really want it to, it's nice because it sort of humanizes her, but it wasn't like organic enough for me to believe that it would happen between them, if that makes sense.
Okay.
I would imagine he may, have sentimentality towards her, but maybe that wouldn't be something that she has throughout the movie, but then when she loses him, maybe she realizes like, oh yeah, this is like the one connection to humanity that I had left. So maybe she'll, have that connection once, she loses him, but I didn't expect her to have that throughout their whole, uh, time spent together.
Okay. And one more plus. Think of one plus and one minus, Ray, while I give my one more plus. My one more plus was I see different factions of the wasteland in different areas portrayed better than any other Mad Max saga movie, I think. Like you have the bullet city, the oil I forget what they're called in each city, and then conflict within the war with there too. So that was more interesting, almost like, not on the level of Game of Thrones, but you have all these different little kingdoms come fighting against each other. And that was a plus for me seeing that. And Dementus's character, I thought Immortum Joe was just going to be like his group was just going to be a cameo because he was in the Fury Road, but no, it's really fleshed out. And I like all the politics and the war against the different factions of the different cities. And one harvests bullets, one harvests oil, one harvests water. And that was very interesting. I really like how much they fleshed out the wasteland in this movie. I think it's done better than some of the other Mad Max movies.
Yeah, like to your point, a plus I like is yeah, they really went deep into like the details of how factions are formed and how these, sort of like rogue factions like Dementus's, crew, they were just, sort of, like, rebels, like not really belonging to any sort of given territory, I guess. Or so yeah, they're just, chaos incarnate, trying to, consume everything in their path, just like without true reason to just, integrate into society wherever, the different um uh cities were at. So yeah, I kind of saw them as like an just, without a motive, but also being able to get more into depth of like how those different cities function and how they're able to, keep normalcy, and how they're able to, respond to like, these sort of like insurgences. So yeah, I really liked that detail a lot.
Okay, cool. Any minus that you think could have been done a little bit better? Anything you said that one character you weren't sold on. Anything else that you think could have been done a little bit better?
Yeah, as much as I love Anya Taylor-Joy's, she's so captivating
You're
on
a big
screen.
fan of her. Okay, yes.
Yes, yeah, I adore her, screen presence. She, like I said, she's very captivating. She, to me, is, developing into a box office draw. Like, I'm more compelled to watch something if I see her in it. But I do get the sense of like, as captivating as she is on screen, she, to me, I haven't seen too much character acting from her. So at like, yeah, she's amazing to look at, like in my opinion, but yeah, I want to see more emphasis on facial expressions and physical movement and things like that. There were definitely scenes of that here in this movie, so we got a little taste of it. I just, I want more, so maybe like, that's a good thing, because we may continue to see more from her. But yeah, I liked what I saw when she was doing those things. I just would have
That's
loved to see
another
more.
question I have though. Could they do a Furiosa 2? Because it really much leads right up to Fury Road. I guess they could. Like the ending. Like the ending, they start showing scenes from Fury Road, like
Yeah.
at the end credits. So I'm
Mhm.
like, do you think there could fit another one in between?
I do think so, because I'm imagining that the Furiosa from Fury Road was maybe like in her 40s. So like I do think there's an opportunity to make a Furiosa movie with Anya Taylor-Joy, later in her, late 20s, where she's currently at in real life, and then into her 30s. So yeah, I think there's an opportunity to make at least two more with Anya Taylor-Joy,
Okay.
and see her, further
Well,
develop into those character acting.
I to this if it's any proof to all of you watching, I wanted Mad Max to come back. Now I think I would prefer Furiosa sequel. I really would. So with that, let's give our scores and then we'll end this power hour with my good friend Rhea. Check her out on X, where she's very positive on X. I don't see any negative activity there. You can have fun and be positive on social media. Check out her X if you want to follow what she's up to, or retweeting, re-Xing, I guess, re-Xing people's channels and places she's been to, or indie developers, things like that. Lots of things to check out. Thank you, Voltaire. Yeah, I've enjoyed this little experiment. I know Zeno. I see you in the chat. I haven't highlighted because I don't like your comments, Zeno. That's why. Because I like the change. I'll give a little bit behind the scenes. I would love to do this more hours than I would like to reduce my. I've said this consistently. My main job, reduce the hour sum, and do like 2 streams a day. And now, do I want to do MME panels 2 times a day? No, I want to do something like this one time, like an hour, hour and a half, and then do a big panel with all my friends. And this gives opportunity to get more from someone that has a lot to offer, like Rhea, like Bruce, like Voltaire. I'm hoping to get Blue Jay, DL. I'm hoping to go Joe. I want to do one-on-one with Joe. And I apologize, Joe. I'm going to apologize. I'm going to send him a message. I think there was some confusion because I know he's so passionate about this topic. And I did say I was going to have on a one-on-one. So I'm going to reach out to him. But I do want to get many people on. And it's a different experience. So let's get to our score. I'm saying 10 out of 10. I'm saying must see. I kind of want to watch it again in IMAX because I didn't see an IMAX. I went to my wife likes the recliner seats, and she has Cinemark. She had Cinemark saved up where it was free because you roll over one ticket. It's the $10 version. Roll over one ticket, and then if you don't go see a few months, it's free. but I might want to. I enjoyed it just as much as Planet of the Apes. Some really great movies this year. I hope it has legs, this movie, and it does good in the second weekend. But I can't wait to watch this again. And this makes me really want to watch Fury Road again, too. So I loved it. 10 out of 10, exceeded my expectations, just like Planet of the Apes. And my fault, I will take the L on both, because both those movies, I was like, I don't know if I want to see these. Like, I'm not against them. Like, is another Planet of the Apes movie and another like different movie from that's focusing on a different character instead of Mad Max in this universe. And that's why they surpassed my expectations so much, because I wasn't expecting, but blown away. And I'm not going to question George Miller again. When George Miller says he wants a new project, I'm not going to be like, oh, I wish you would do something different. No, not anymore. So 10 out of 10. Rhea, what's your score?
Yeah, I give it an 8 out of 10. And
Mhm.
I think I'm in the same boat as you. I went and saw it in standard definition, and I think I did myself a disservice because I
The
had,
sound's amazing too. The sound
I,
too.
yeah, definitely. And yeah, it was one of those films that I'm like, okay, I'm going to see it because my friends are, hyping it up and I want to talk about it with them. But me personally, I enjoyed it for my own, enrichment. And I think to further, you know, absorb the world building and more of an appreciation for Anya's acting, because I do feel like I'm selling her short in my review. So seeing it in IMAX and how impactful it would be there, I think maybe that would improve
I,
my score.
I actually was okay. I hear what you're saying about Anya's performance, especially being a fan, but her performance exceeded my expectations. And I think it's more because by the time you see Anya Taylor-Joy, she's a different Furiosa already. Like, she's kind of much on that new path. Whereas you really give a lot of accolades to the young actress that played young Furiosa. And there's a lot of nuance in her performance, because she was still a child and she was still changing. Whereas once Anya Taylor-Joy's there, she is on the path to being Furiosa. I'm pretty sure. And then I do know people were having concerns about the amount of dialogue or the lack of dialogue she might have, but her eyes and the way she emoted from her eyes and the stares she gave were very intense and very really cool for her character for me. But I understand your concerns there. You would like potentially to see more range from her role. Um, but I think that's might have just been a choice because of where she was at in the story. But I do want to see more range too. But if you look at Charlize Theron, Furiosa, she's pretty much the same too to become that character. But yeah, great score though, 8 out of 10 and 10 out of 10. Thank you everyone for watching. Thank you for the support, except Zeno. I'm gonna call you Zeno. You're still my family. It's just whatever. And I hope everyone enjoys the movies this summer and streaming. And maybe we'll end on what you're looking for next. I am so on board for the Acolyte. When is that coming out? When's the Acolyte coming out? I actually think I'm going to be away when it comes out. Oh no, June 4th is next Tuesday. Is it June 4th? Let me see. What's your most anticipated thing coming out? Is it the Acolyte 2? Or what?
Maxine, I can't wait to see it.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
That's right. I have to do some homework because potentially we might see that with my wife. I don't think my cousin would want to see that movie. He's not really in the horror, But again, because of Perp and a lot of friends there, and I've made a conscious decision to stop dwelling on things I don't like anymore and try new things. And horror is a genre that I'm trying to get into. I don't think I'll ever be full-blown horror fan, but I really like how much buzz gets from Maxine in that trilogy. So I'm going to do my homework and go back and watch the first two. And my wife didn't see them either, and she loves horror. I was like, "Did you see that?" And she's like, "No." So that's something we could maybe I'll go to the Jack's rental and see if he has the first. What do they call Pearl? And what else?
Pearl and X.
Pearl and X. Okay. So I do want to prepare for Maxine so I could see it. Horror is the best genre, essentially. Have you always liked horror movies or only recently?
Only
Right.
recently, like, my
Yeah.
sister is really big into horror, like the character-driven ones, like Chucky and Halloween. So I got into it because of her, whenever I would visit her, and I was like, "This genre is really, really good." So, I would just, basically I got through into it recently because of her.
Cool. Cool. And Ryan Hartwell again. Here's you could still enjoy entertainment even when it's the economy struggling, and here's a great option. And you know what, libraries need supported too. My sister, actually, she's a teacher. She also got her librarian license, and I was so happy for her. So yeah, go get books, but libraries are a good option. Although me personally, I cannot stand scratch discs, so that's why I try to stay into the library. Seems to have the most beat up movies, but still give it a shot. With your library card. Ryan says, I just checked out X and Pearl at the library. I'm going to watch them tonight. Let me know how it is, Ryan, and let me know if your discs were okay. Because
Yeah, and some libraries, check out games too.
yes, so definitely there are options for everyone. Go renew your library card and do what you can to enjoy yourself. Okay, so I think that's where we'll head